With the outside temperatures around 26 degrees, but the wind chill making it feel about half that. Thankfully, I have something waiting to help warm things up. Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, this week we test out the 2019 Lexus ES300 Hybrid. And if you haven't been in a hybrid in a while, well, this may give you a different impression. Now, anytime I hear the term hybrid, I definitely give pause because what I'm expecting to pull in the driveway typically looks geekish, dorkish, and something that matches my exterior. But this definitely reinvents my thinking. What I'm referring to is really hybrids have evolved, really getting away from the standard operating procedure of saying this has got to be an eco-friendly car. That way everyone knows we mean business. Now, if you start putting hybrids in luxury sedans, no one's going to take us seriously. But, well, obviously, Lexus is doing it well. Where it starts is on the outside, delivering that standard luxury sedan we expect from Lexus, and with a little footnote saying, oh, by the way, this is a hybrid. Nowhere do they really emblazon on this vehicle, but just a little accents here and there just to set the tone. And that's exactly where hybrid needs to go. No longer is it just a dorky exterior, but something that, well, can be so refined and so breathtaking. It seems just nearly 2 decades ago, I was test driving my first hybrid, and if you had told me then this is where we'd end up, well, I would have laughed, because why even start back at those designs? And what I'm referring to is those small, compact offerings that made me flip, fold, and tuck to get inside, and every one of them seemed to have some type of fifth door that, of course, had all the batteries and all the storage, and, well, in some cases, just 2 seats, because that's all we could muster room for. Now, well, we've grown to such a bigger offering and much cooler. Now, specifically what we see here is 193 inches overall, wheelbase about 110, just under 6 feet wide and under 5 feet tall. And, well, what that's referred to as a bigger mid-size sedan. And I can't believe we've actually grown to this equation. Now, even better is those old designs are, well, crumbled up and thrown in the trash. Instead, you're seeing them applied to Lexus like this. And what Lexus has done, even with their average sedans, has really evolved them just the same. It used to be smooth body lines, a little bit too voluptuous, and now a little bit more chiseling. And, well, that's where the industry is going as well. Take the hybrid out of the equation, but just look at sedans. This is what you're seeing. Nice ridge lines on the hood. No longer can it just be smooth. Stylized headlights that wrap around. And as for the body lines, fairly tight with a little bit of haunches at the 4 corners and a typical midline chiseled right through here. As you sweep to the back, a little bit of sweeping up and very dynamic rear end. Now let's look at some other points on this vehicle. So when it came to hybrid designs, Lexus basically said, let's do a control-delete, forget where we've ever came from or what we've ever seen, and let's just do what we do. And that, of course, is luxury and good old guerrilla warfare. Now, what you're seeing up front is very elongated hood that should stop maybe about right here, but it protrudes just a little bit further. Even better is this kind of waterfalling grille, very blazing in some chrome and a lot of dramatics going on. Stylized headlights that really sweep across, very minimal when it comes to size, but dynamic when it comes to approach, with, of course, dynamic sweeping headlights, a lot of forward thinking and, well, forward throw that gives you a lot of safety going down the road. Now, sweeping around, really got body color all the way around. Nice safety, of course, when it comes to parking sensors, front camera, and even better, sport with this lower fascia. The one thing with any vehicle is you want to have bragging rights for whatever niche vehicle it fits in. For a muscle car, well, that's the growl, the horsepower, the rumble, that when it shows up, it lets people take notice. For a hybrid, well, what is that? Well, it used to be the profile. Now, on the ES300, how do people know that you're really hugging trees and you're really green friendly? Well, they're going to have to look really close, and what I'm referring to is the emblazoned insignia, well, tucked really low. It says hybrid, and, well, the blue little adornment there on the Lexus emblem in the front and in the rear. But other than that, it could be just the fact that you pull up and sound like a golf cart. And, of course, like-minded geeks will definitely take notice. Now, some other geek qualities on this vehicle start with some innovations, and it all starts right here at the door. What I'm referring to is the good old smart key system. The best part is, well, leave it in your pocket and forget about it. Even better, this is the next level of ingress. No longer just a press of a button only at the front doors, but really you can gain access anywhere. And where you get it is simply putting your hand right here unlocks with ease. Now, one thing I wanted to note is, well, I have my gloves on, and if we notice, like with the iPhones and all that, you just can't operate it. But on a vehicle like this, it doesn't matter because, well, it is the next level of thinking. What I'm referring to is simply put your hand here, it knows you're there. If you need to walk away, press there, locks right up. Now, one thing to note, what I found on the driver's door is if you go to the driver's door, it only locks that one. Then you kind of have to stumble around to unlock the rest. But if you walk up to the passenger rear door, put your hand here, unlocks all of them. Kind of a little trick. Now, certainly there might be some settings I just didn't dive into, but that's just one little cheat factor. Next cheat factor is parking this vehicle. And of course, you have the parking sensors, the camera up front, likewise in the back, but even better, the ones here on the outer mirrors, giving that 360 view, because after all, you don't want any scrapes and dings, even right there at the four corners. As I began to study the exterior of this hybrid and start to rethink what one should look like, it started with the profile. Then it went to the guerrilla warfare. My mindset starting to change, but what truly sealed the deal was the design here at the back end. And what you see is a nice hint at sport on this vehicle, really starting with these rear pillars that sweep down, the rear haunches sweeping up quite hard and tucking in, but really it comes down to this rear deck lid, really nice and artsy with this kind of tuck right through here, almost making this spoiler look elevated. Otherwise, a great design. Now, what you also see is really sculpting and chiseling here at the rear taillights, taking it to the next level. What they could have done is simply kept these nice and tight, but they really have set off a nice design. Body color all the way around, a hint of chrome, which really couples nicely with the other accents, and of course, safety back here in the parking sensors and backup camera. Now, there's some other innovations to expect on luxury, and what it is of course a power rear hatch, and you can simply press the button here, it rises to the occasion. You can have one on your key fob as well, but you can go hands-free by simply waving your leg in this area, and it simply gets up out of the way. Now, once it's open, you're going to see a typical cavernous opening right through here, but nice and big. Nice areas here on the outer side. That's simply going to hold nice golf bags with ease. Now let's dive a little bit closer to see really how big this area is. Now, what you're going to see when you dive inside is around about 12 cubic feet of space, and what makes that feel a little bit bigger are these outer niches. That's going to help hold larger items like golf bags, and you can easily handle forward here in a pinch. Now, what I truly like is what lies beneath the cargo floor, and what that is the old standard operation when it comes to like a jack or taking off a tire or whatever. But that's only helpful if you have a spare. Best off is, well, that is what lies beneath here. Nice full-size spare there when you need it. Now, one thing I found with power rear trunk lids is they can be kind of argumentative, and what I'm referring to is in their operation. Typically when they power, they want to power down, and you can of course do it with the button here, but what you'll find is sometimes you forget that, or maybe someone's helping load for you and they want to manually take this down, and what you typically see is, well, them arguing with it, and that just seems awkward for anyone that's watching from about 20 feet away. What I like here on the ES300 is, well, it works either in the automated or manual process, and really just nice and light, and you can kind of go old school if you prefer. As for the power plant under the hood, what you're going to find is a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder engine. Now, it's going to deliver a combined 200 horses and 156 foot-pounds of torque specifically produced by the engine. What that truly gives you is decent number, but better yet, fuel economy, averaging around about 40 miles per gallon. Now, of course, it is coupled to an automatic transmission. The best seat in the house is typically behind the wheel, but you're not going to get much arguments from anyone, as comfort is pretty much equal across the board, specifically when it comes to legroom numbers. Now, up front and in the back, around about 40 inches, but really the front occupants getting the best luxury when it comes to, well, the seating first off. Now, what you're going to find in the front really is nice captain's chairs, enveloping, really with a little bit of bolstering, but better yet, great comfort when it comes to power options. Even better, nice elbow support with that nice center console, and heated and cooled seats for both front occupants. Power adjustments are a standard feature here on the Lexus, but for the driver, it takes it to the next level. Now, both occupants in the front will get lumbar support, vertical and horizontal power adjustments, but one thing the driver gets extra is this button right here. Now, what that is extra thigh support, like you're going to find on your Lazy Boy chair in your living room. What's great is it really extends far out, giving you extra comfort and, well, giving the driver the best seat in the house. The Lexus definitely has a cool factor on the outside, but it may be just as cool on the inside. More in kind of a geekish approach, and where you see that is front and center with the huge LCD screen. Now, one thing to note is it is not a touchscreen. Heck, it's just too far away to even reach, and the way you interact with it is with this touchpad in between the front occupants. Now, it does take a little bit getting used to. It is hypersensitive, which basically means you'll feel feedback from it as you navigate around. Now, all that really relates here on the screen, really allows you to kind of move around with ease. Now, if you lose your way, you can hit the menu. That's going to give you a lot of shortcuts down below, allows you to kind of toggle through. And what's really great is you really are not going to select these accidentally, because it really allows you to navigate, and only when you press down is it going to go to that screen. Then again, you can kind of just move around real easily, find what you're looking for, then press again. That's one thing I thought would be a little bit more cumbersome than I realized, really thinking I would take weeks to figure out, but instead, just a couple minutes. Looking at the LCD screen just a little bit closer, one thing I like are the shortcuts, and the way you get there is that menu select. Shortcuts are going to be down below, and you can simply just scroll across, find what you're looking for. Now, as for the climate, for example, when you bring that up, gives you a nice bird's eye view, so you really have to glance down to controls, but instead can just simply see the temperature settings you're doing. Now, you can navigate over to the seat comfort. That allows you to see kind of what the seating is going on. You got heated and cooled seats, got heated steering wheel as well. Lets you know kind of the comfort level settings on that. Now, again, if you lose your way, just simply hit the menu select. That's going to allow you to kind of navigate through. I do like the fact that when you go to the audio, you still have the audio on the left, but the map as well there on the right. So you kind of have your navigation going on simultaneously, kind of a good old split screen. Now, right through the middle are going to be your climate controls as well, some other shortcuts for the audio, nice toggle switches for setting the dual zones up front, fan speed in the form of a button, but there are 7 levels, really allows for great airflow through the vehicle, mode select through here, and defrost mirrors and back window. Now, what you'll notice here are the shortcuts for radio, media select, and select your track, and that's really helpful for you to really navigate through the sources without really using that center touchpad. Low on the dash, you're going to find some luxury settings when it comes to comfort, both the heated and cooled seats for both front occupants, heated steering wheel, and powering that rear sunshade. To help keep things dressed up, there is a nice covering for the cup holder right here. Now, there's going to be connectivity as well, and a single cup holder, but you can cover that up if you don't want to see that. Now, for the driver, there really is more of a cup holder closer, and it's very deep, but if you have maybe a shorter drink, you can press that. It will give you kind of a raised, really helping with those smaller coffees you have in the morning. Now, what's great with the ES300s, there's a lot of great design features going on through the middle, especially with that huge LCD screen, but something that kind of oddly stood out were these features on the upper portion of the dash, specifically these kind of nodes here on the outer part. Now, what's interesting is this is simply a button for traction control. This one being the driving dynamics, you can simply toggle through. Now, interestingly, those are typically found in the form of a button either to the left of a steering wheel or there between the front occupants, but instead they're in the form of almost these bicycle-like handlebars on both sides. Now, better yet, it would be cool if these actually pushed in and maybe came out when you need it, but just simply adorning them here just seems oddly placed and, well, matter of fact, just weird. You can definitely say the ES300 doesn't have a standard operating procedure when it comes to the front dash. A lot of niches, sculpting, and just a lot of things going on, which again makes these just seem like they're just kind of oddly placed. Now, what's great is there is a heads-up display built in right there, really projects to the windshield quite easily. And when it comes to the gauge cluster, really innovative with a huge digital readout. Really no analog tach or speedometer to note, but there are some analog gauges there on the right when it comes to fuel and temperature. One of the coolest features that may be the hardest one to find is, well, over here on the left side of the dash in the form of this button right here. Now, it has kind of a camera that's adorning it, and what you'll notice is when you press it, It does this on the LCD screen, kind of a 360 sweep of the exterior of the vehicle. Now this could be kind of surveillance or maybe checking to see if you fit in your parking spot, but overall it just kind of gives you a nice bird's eye view of what's going on around you. On the steering wheel, you're going to find entertainment settings here on the left side and your cruise control here on the right. And what I love is it has lots of safety, really, with the radar sensing in the front, lane departure here on the left, as well as blind spot awareness. But everything to set that is right here on the right side. One thing about center consoles, they could be specific only for the driver, and you can tell that by simply opening one up, and you'll see that it creates kind of a divide between the front occupant. But what's great here on the ES300 is, well, it's basically best of both worlds for both occupants, allowing access on either side. Now once you look inside, what you're going to see is a nice deep storage console, power supply in there as well. Coupling nicely with the rear window shade are these manual ones for back passengers that really help keep sunlight out and, in my opinion, give nice privacy. Now as for this extra portal here, you can pull this manual one as well, giving you a full shade there for the back doors. There's no tri-zone system here on the ES300, but there is great airflow in the form of these dual vents here on the back of the center console. Now as for connectivity, nice power supply here as well as 2 USB outlets. And that does it for this edition of Road Warrior and a test drive behind the wheel of the 2019 Lexus ES300 Hybrid, a vehicle that won't get noticed for its, well, fuel economy, but better yet for its design. And, well, isn't that what we truly want? Maybe a little less geekish and a lot more cool, and, well, that's what this vehicle does. But lying beneath the skin is truly a lot of innovations, both when it comes to safety, typical hybrid technology, but yet standard luxury when it comes to the inside. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.